Step 1. Buy a lottery ticket. The odds are 1 in 292 million, which is worse than your odds of being struck by lightning, and then on the way home from the hospital, struck by lightning again. Step 2. Do this every week. Step 3. Actually, forget the steps. Nobody needs a script to stay poor, which is itself kind of the whole point of this video. Here's the number, no context yet. $412. That's the average annual lottery spend of households earning under $30,000 a year. 4 times what households earning $75,000 or more spend on the exact same tickets standing at the exact same counter. Sit with that gap for a second. Same gas station, same scratch off, different math running underneath it, and neither person behind the counter can see the other one's math. Now, the older number, the one that still holds up, households under $10,000 a year putting something like 3% of everything they make into tickets. Not groceries, not the electric bill, tickets. You already know the voice that shows up next, the judgmental one. The one that says, well, that's the problem, isn't it? Bad decisions. Buy less lottery, save more, generational wealth unlocked. There's an entire publishing category built on that theory. Rich people think in abundance, it says. Poor people think in scarcity, like it's a setting you can just switch if somebody explains the switch clearly enough, preferably across 17 numbered chapters. Here's what that theory leaves out. In 2013, a team of researchers, Mani, Malanathan, Schaefer, and Zhao, publishing in the journal Science, went to Tamil Nadu, India, and studied sugarcane farmers. Same farmers, same brains, 2 different months. Before harvest, cash poor, waiting on income that hadn't arrived, the researchers ran them through cognitive tests, pattern recognition, impulse control, the kind of thing an IQ test measures. After harvest, same tests, same farmers, money now in hand. The gap was roughly 13 IQ points. Same person, same brain. The only variable that moved was whether the harvest check had cleared. 13 points is not a rounding error, and it wasn't only the farmers. A parallel study pulled shoppers out of a New Jersey mall and gave them a hypothetical. Your car needs an expensive repair. Figure out how you'd pay for it. Just the hypothetical. Just 15 minutes of thinking about it. Lower income participants' scores dropped on the very next task. Higher income participants barely registered it. Same 15 minutes, same fake bill, different tax on the brain, and the tax rate was set entirely by their bank balance. So when someone spends $412 a year on a $2 fantasy instead of routing it into a rainy day account, that is not structurally a mindset failure waiting for the right paperback. That's a brain running a permanent deficit, spending attention it doesn't have on arithmetic it can't afford to get wrong, and reaching for the one form of hope still priced at $2, because the other forms of hope, diversified, compounding, professionally managed, require capital it was never going to have in the first place. Here's where it turns into something closer to a system than a symptom. The Federal Reserve asks Americans every year whether they could cover a $400 emergency, a car repair, a copay, using cash on hand. In 2024, 63% yes, which means 37% no. Split it by education and the number gets uncomfortable fast. Among adults without a high school diploma, only 29% could cover it. 7 out of 10 in that group can't absorb a $400 shock without borrowing, selling something, or simply not paying it. Now put the lottery number back on top of that and look at it for a second longer than feels comfortable. The population least able to produce $400 for an actual emergency is on average spending $412 a year hoping for $200 million. Same rough figure, opposite direction. That's not 2 separate bad habits. That's one emergency fund rerouted into the only version of financial hope that was still on the shelf at the register. Because here's what else was on that shelf, briefly. In December 2024, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau finalized a rule capping bank overdraft fees, the fees that pulled in roughly $5.8 billion from customers in 2023 alone, landing hardest, as these fees do, on accounts already running close to zero. The proposed cap, $5, down from as high as $35. The rule existed, on paper, for about 3 months. In March 2025, the Senate voted 51 to 47 to kill it, using the Congressional Review Act, a mechanism that doesn't just repeal a rule, it forbids the agency from ever writing anything substantially similar again. The House followed shortly after. The $5 cap that would have kept several $billion a year inside the accounts of the same households averaging $412 in annual lottery spend, gone, before a single fee was ever actually capped in practice. So, if you're taking notes on how to actually stay poor, here is the real list, and none of it fits in a self help chapter. Grow up making financial decisions under a cognitive tax equivalent to 13 IQ points, not because you're less capable, but because your brain is doing arithmetic on a deficit that a wealthier brain simply never has to run. Get charged a fee for the specific offense of having too little money already in an account that had too little money. Watch the one regulation bill to stop that fee get proposed, finalized, and legally erased inside a single fiscal year. And then, when none of that math resolves in your favor, spend $2 on the last form of upward mobility still being sold at the counter next to the register. Nobody in that chain made one uniquely bad decision. They made an understandable one inside a system that had already decided several steps upstream what their options were going to be. The ticket isn't the mistake, it's the receipt.